Alrighty, hello everybody. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hope y'all are doing well. Uh, Obviously we are streaming some more Elden Ring. We're gonna continue the Consumables only playthrough today. I jumped in ahead of time already, rather than starting in the menu as I typically do, because I was trying to get a little bit of farming done before I pressed the start stream button. Hey, Nightmare, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I wanted to do my farming of this kind of stuff off stream as I typically do, just so that I'm not taking a lot of time doing this sort of thing on stream. I know people don't necessarily mind, but unfortunately I just had zero time to do any of this yesterday, so I'm just getting a little bit of it out of the way here at the start, so we can kind of just jump in to the rest of the gameplay immediately after. Right now we're just going to do a couple of trips through the Seathwater Terminus area just to kind of collect a whole bunch of volcanic stone for our volcano pots, since those are so useful. Cutting some papers, but otherwise doing okay. Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, thankfully, if you do like this entire Terminus run here, as long as you're picking up all or at least most of the volcanic stone on the way, like, you can get quite a lot in like one trip. Not enough necessarily where you're only going to want to do it like one time. With the amount of volcano pots that I end up going through, I usually try to collect a lot before I leave, usually enough to have like at least 800 or 900 or more volcanic stone in storage, just so we can craft a whole lot. Or not in storage, but in my inventory, I mean. Any additional in storage would be fine, but I don't usually go quite that far with it, just because it's time consuming. As far as farming is concerned, you know, at the very least, like, this is not that bad compared to some other stuff. Since you can get so much of this, like, relatively quickly if you just kind of keep running along the area. Obviously, when you're only getting like one or two or three, like, that may not seem like a lot, like, per pickup, but it adds up really quickly, especially if you do get like the luckier, you know, 2 or 3 pickups instead of just one at a time. Just with the amount that you're going to actually collect, you know, if you go through the whole thing. So I find that it tends to be more efficient to just traverse the whole thing and collect all the stones you can in this particular area, rather than just get a whole bunch right next to a grace and then sit back down again. It just seems to work out a little bit better this way, I think. But yeah, I usually go up as far as the fort here and collect the ones right in front of the fort. And then since that gets the attention of some enemies, I usually just kind of bail after that and start over. Alright, so let's see, where are we at the moment? You have 649. We want to try to get that up to at least around 900. So 1 to 2 more trips will do, and then we can just kind of jump right back in, probably. There's some other stuff I should probably farm, or at least, you know, buy otherwise. Thankfully, we don't have to farm cracked crystal. Why is that happening every time I warp there? Mouse glitch occurring? I guess I must have. Last 2 times I warped to that bonfire, my character would just randomly punch out of nowhere. That. Anywho, this is, of course, just part of the nature of consumables only, is just, you know, potentially farming. Obviously, if you don't really care about doing it, like, 100% legit or whatever, you could always, you know, use save files for certain things just to, you know, spend as little as possible. And you could also otherwise just use, like, cheat engine or whatever just to kind of, you know, give yourself the materials you want rather than having to farm them. But I find that, you know, again, usually since I just do it off stream, I don't usually mind doing this sort of thing too much, at least with, you know, the majority of these resources, because some of them definitely do kind of suck to farm, which usually in those cases they're just items I don't typically use if the farm sucks really bad. Yo, Red, what's up? How's it going? Hope you're doing well today. I might have missed some a second ago there, but oh well. All right. These. Oh, sniped it. Okay. There we go. So that. Wait, I'm sick of that basketball our turn ad because it keeps showing up so much. I think maybe I know what you're talking about. I don't watch too many channels much anymore where ads are something I you know have to deal with, just because most of the channels I watch I just am subscribed to, so I don't bother, or usually end up having to bother, you know, sitting through an ad or something. But I do on occasion, if I'm just kind of like throwing somebody else's stream just kind of on up in the background or something like that. I don't even really watch very many channels, so it's not like it's like I have a lot of subscriptions or anything. Just a few. But yeah, I think honestly, the way Twitch handles ads like is really super annoying from the viewer standpoint. So regardless of what the ad is, it's pretty crap. Because, you know, ads in any other sort of like streaming video service is like annoying but like tolerable to an extent. But like with Twitch, ads, you know, any sort of live broadcast that doesn't have like regular commercial breaks, ads are just, you know, not really anything other than completely intrusive, which sucks because, you know, you just kind of get forced to, you're forced into either watching them for potentially, you know, like a minute or more, and missing, you know, whatever's going on in the stream, at least, you know, audio wise, for the duration, or, you know, you're just forced to subscribe, which, you know, I don't, I mean, it's nice when, like, you can do that to potentially support the streamer, but at the same time, you're also giving money to Twitch, and considering, you know, any amount of, like, a monthly purchase in that regard can just kind of quickly become, you know, rack up to become somewhat expensive, especially if you're trying to do it for multiple channels or something. It just, you know, it's not something that's really, like, great for most people to have to deal with, I would say. You know, I would prefer instead that, if Twitch is going to do stuff like that, you know, maybe mobile would be a little bit different, but I would prefer just visual ads. Like, they do that, and they've been doing that, where they just kind of like slightly reduce the size of the video and have like a side screen ad pop up, which can still be kind of annoying, but I'd much rather have that because it doesn't interrupt, you know, whatever it is I'm watching. You know, and you can just kind of deal with it while it's there until it just, you know, disappears after 15, 20 seconds or whatever it normally is. Like, either way, I think ads are one of those things that just kind of feel like a little bit of a necessary evil for making money on, you know, any sort of website where you're wanting to kind of turn a little bit of a profit, you know, or more specifically just make some sort of income from it. I mean, so I am fine with them in like principle, but it would be nice if Twitch had a better way of handling them that wasn't just a complete interruption of the viewer experience, where you just kind of, you know, miss potentially an important section of a stream or something that you're watching, which could really be, you know, just any old moment if you're just specifically really wanting to watch what it is you're watching and not really miss anything. So yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan. But thankfully in my case, you know, I don't really run regular ads. I only really do the pre-roll thing. It doesn't mean you won't necessarily get hit by some of those like sidebar ads, because I don't have any control over those either, but generally speaking, unless like the page gets reloaded or something like that, you won't normally have to deal with ads coming up in the middle of my stream to interrupt the experience. It's kind of not really overly worth it as an affiliate to begin with, you know. It's not like you can't necessarily get some money for doing it, but generally speaking, not overly great. You know, now for partners, like, you might get a little bit of a better deal from it, so I do understand, you know, why a lot of people will use it. It just kind of sucks. All right, well, we have plenty at this point of that, so I think we can leave there. I think before we get 100% started again back here, I'm just going to go collect a little bit more Scarlet Bud. Like, just, we'll go through this, like, I don't know, 4 times or something. Just for some extra hefty rot pots. This particular run, thankfully, doesn't take long. The only downside is that you can only get, like, 5 Scarlet Bud each time, which is not great. There might be a better place for farming them, but I've not really looked around entirely to see whether or not there's like a specifically better spot that's like in close proximity to a Grace. least this is relatively easy, nevertheless, because it's a matter of just running in. You do have to deal with these, like, Kindred of Rot here, which might throw some pest threads at you, but with some decently timed dodges or maneuvers, like, it's pretty easy to just kind of get in and out and get your 5 and rest and do it again. It would be nice if with Scarlet Buds there was some level of drop variety there, so that, like, you know, you had a chance of, instead of only ever getting one when you pick them up, that you could get, you know, 2 or 3 at times, like other consumables, because it would be much nicer in that regard. But it doesn't seem like that's a thing. It just only ever gives me 1 each. Let's see where we're at with that right now, because that should have been another 10. So we're at 82. Let's do, I guess, 4 more trips, because that'll give us just over 100. So we should have enough to make, technically, I think it'll be 51 hefty rot pots. So hopefully that'll feel like a decent amount for at least today's activities. Depends on how many things we actually try to rot and how many wasted pots we end up having. The thing I really particularly dislike about fighting a lot of the NPCs in the DLC is that, as with the base game ones, they tend to dodge anything you throw at them. So you have to have, like, very precise timing, especially with hefty rot pots, or any hefty pot, just because they're so slow to throw. And if it misses because they dodge, you know, right at the last second or whatever, if it misses because they dodge right at the last second, then that just feels like a big waste. Couple more trips then, and we will be, I think, good to go. I'll have to check on my knives and stuff in terms of stock, but those we can just buy. If we need more runes, it's really easy to get them, so that won't really be a problem. Let's see. That should be 92. All right, so yeah, just 2 more trips. Good thought. Once you've been doing this sort of thing for a while, it gets easy to kind of, like, lose count of, like, how many times you've done a thing, just because it sort of starts to kind of blur together. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't do it, like, 1 more or 1 less time than I thought I had. Yeah, I think, depending on whether or not I end up streaming tomorrow, I mean, we might just feel, I might feel more like streaming more of this anyway, but I did beat Conscript the other day, so if I feel like if I do end up feeling like streaming that, then we might do that tomorrow, assuming that I've got the time and everything. Just because it would be kind of nice, I think, to, or enjoyable to do that, a stream playthrough of that, even though I did just recently play through it. But the game does have multiple endings, so I suppose I could try to go for like a different ending or something. Played through Conscript. How was it? I really enjoyed it. I I went with I won't necessarily do it for stream because I'm not really going to be trying to get like an S rank, and I wasn't really trying to get an S rank on my first playthrough either. But I played on the what appeared to be the intentional or intended difficulty, which is I think Soldier or something like that, which is meant to be somewhat challenging but not like the most extreme difficulty. And there's two optional settings that you get right at the start, which are, because again it's inspired by like classic Resident Evil. One setting is that you get checkpoints so that if you die you can like, you know, reload at like a relatively recent position, like in a room that you just entered or something like that. Um, and if you have that turned on, then you can't get the S plus or whatever rank, right? And then the other one is unlimited saves. So again, same thing. You can't get the S plus rank with that. I left both of those options off when I played, so my only way to have a checkpoint was by saving, and I had a limited number of saves because you use the same sort of deal. It's like, it's not a typewriter; it's like a journal that you're writing in, but you still need like ink, right? So ink is what you use as your limited number of saves, and you can still get tons of saves throughout the game, especially because you can end up like purchasing from some ink from the in-game merchant guy. Um, I think I saved like a grand total of like, what the fuck? Sorry, one moment. All right. Hopefully we're good. No. Sorry about that. I am back. I don't know. I hope you guys couldn't like hear the call over that. I don't think you should have been able to, but hopefully you can hear everything, me and the game, fine at this point. But yeah, sorry. I just had a work colleague had a very like important question that needed answered, and he just like called me out of the blue because he does kind of have a habit of doing that sometimes. Um, he doesn't typically contact me quite so directly, so he's just sort of used to calling people like randomly. It's just that he doesn't normally do it to me, so I was a little surprised. Thanks for the welcome back, and yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, let's see here. Get back on track with what I was doing. So we got the Scarlet Buds I think I needed or wanted to get for now at least. I suppose we should probably buy some fly mold to match that at least. Cracked crystal we're looking okay on, and those we can always buy anyways. And everything else I think we're probably fine on. So yeah, let's just go get that, and what we'll do really quick just to make sure we have enough runes for it, because I don't remember how expensive it is, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty pricey. I want to say it's like 1,500 runes or some shit. Let me just switch this out real fast for something. This guy. It's probably good enough for now. We can just do the quick little rune farm over here. Just get the furnace golem's attention. There's a whole bunch of shadow undead on this bridge. He'll start doing his little flamey tornado thing here. We're just going to quickly run back over to the Grace while he does that. Sit down. Spam the button. Stand up. Sit down again. I think we were a little bit slower. There was a bit of lag there, but ideally you want to kind of like spam so that you can have the fire be active long enough for it to kill some of the enemies twice. That way you're getting twice as many runes. You just have to stay on the bridge for like a second so that he'll actually like, you know, target properly and hit everything properly. But see, now there just killed everything twice, so the timing is a little specific, but if you do it that way, then you just get a lot of runes in one fell swoop, which I think is a bit faster. Again, if you do it right, at least a fair bit faster than the bird rune farm. Plus, it doesn't require you having to use any like arrows or anything. I don't know if it's just because I'm like broadcasting or what, but oops, I said too soon. This is fine. Also, hey Anna, how's it going? Hope you're having a good Saturday. Let's just do one more. Just a good measure. We should, I think, have enough to buy a decent amount of fly mold. And then whatever else we have. I know we started with like 16k, so we'll just try to spend more or less back down to that, just so we're not having excess runes for leveling or anything. It's not much. I mean, I know nobody really cares, but alright, so they all got killed a bunch. Anyway, how's your Saturday been so far, Anna? Hopefully good. Yeah, it's 2,500 per fly mold. It's so you can see, even just getting like the amount we needed, which is like an extra 51, costs more than even like all the way down to the amount of runes we had at the start. But that's fine. I don't mind like spending 10K on that. The question is, um, are we good on knives, or are we gonna need more runes to buy more stuff? I'd say we're probably okay for now. I like to keep the stock pretty high, but 400 and like for throwing daggers, it's not going to matter that much because I don't use these like quite as crazily. But fan daggers definitely, and kukri a fair bit, but we'll be fine on those. So yeah, I think we're good to go. But yeah, like I said, normally I prefer doing any and all farming and stuff off stream first, but like I said, I just did not get any time to farm whatsoever yesterday. So anyway, Nightmare, if you're still here, I was talking to you about conscript. How's your Saturday been so far? Pretty good. Pretty chill for the most part, aside from just we just had a random stream interruption for a voice call for someone from work, but he just needed a question answered really quick, or a couple questions. Anyway, so yeah, conscript. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I am interested in replaying it on stream. Like I said, maybe tomorrow. Um, it probably won't be one that we'll finish in one stream, even though I know more or less what to do in the game, just because it's really not super short. You can get through, like, if you know exactly what to do, you can get through it pretty quickly. And if you're also not trying to play like super carefully, or you're not playing, with the unlimited saves or checkpoints and things like that turned off, or just on an easier difficulty, it probably won't take super long. But it's like any other like Resident Evil type game where you're going to do a fair bit of backtracking, because you're going to have limited inventory space, and you're going to find key items in some areas and then have to go back and unlock doors or whatever with said key items, stuff like that. So it just ends up kind of being a thing. But yeah, I think Conscript was really good, especially in concept. Like it balances pretty well between kind of just being a classic survival horror type video game without really at all particularly leaning into the elements of most like horror game media and stuff. In that, in this case, it's just, I mean, there's a lot of like atmosphere and some stuff that could otherwise be in the moment more otherworldly horror, but it never really delves into stepping out of the bounds entirely of reality. It's just, this is the horror of war, pretty much. um, and the only times you even get anything that's like not strictly like normal and human, or things like that, are just, you know sequences where like your character is having like a nightmare or something, which usually just lasts, it only happens like a couple times in the game. It doesn't last very long. You also get like these little story, like between the chapters, you get like these little flashbacks of your character when they were like a little bit younger, before joining the war. So because the whole point of the game is like you and your brother joined the war at like the same time, or roughly the same time. um and you ended up enlisting, or ending up in basically the same unit, which is rare, um for typical obvious reasons. You don't usually want to be positioned in a unit with someone that you're, friends or family with in most wartime military engagement stuff, because obviously people will sometimes make stupid choices because they don't want to lose their close friends or family. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the case in point in this, is that you're trying to do your duty as well, of course, but you're also specifically going out of your way to try to find your brother, and hopefully save him if he's alive. Fuck's sake, why? How is that even a thing? Okay. Sorry, it's the fucking weekend, but of course people just want to keep hitting me up for work stuff. All right, it's fine. I mean, we're this. I don't know how even I'm being asked for the thing that I'm being asked for, which is to take some extra screenshots because I don't know why there would even be need for that at this point, unless something got screwed up somewhere. But whatever. Anyway, I'll handle that later. All right. Sounds like a premise for a lot of horrifying and sad things to happen. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. But it was definitely very good, and it has like a very nice like, despite the fact that you're not fighting like inhuman enemies, and like there's no like fantasy, sci-fi, supernatural horror elements to it. It's just you're a lone soldier, fighting in like World War I trench warfare in the middle of the fucking like Battle of Verdun in France. So it's it's pretty messed up because if you know anything about like the history of that, it's a very lengthy battle that ended in a very Pyrrhic victory because tons and tons of people died over a very small piece of territory. Um, but yeah, so you like it's still as far as it like kind of leaning into the like Resident Evil inspiration, it's really pretty well made. Um, I think the only time I had any issue with the game, there's some aspects that are maybe a little easier than they should be, which is like particularly because you can kind of like stealth kill some enemies, which is a very valid tactic to make the game a little more manageable because ammo is very scarce and stuff like that. Um, but you also like you get melee weapons, but they have durability with the exception of the knife. If you find the knife early on, the knife does the least melee damage out of any of the melee weapons, but it has infinite durability. However, it makes it really poor for fighting enemies in melee. However, if you stealth attack an enemy, it will kill like 99% of the enemies in the game in one hit. Um, there's like one or two enemies that it won't just outright kill. Uh, and only those ones in particular, are meant to be like particularly challenging enemies that have like lots of armor or whatever. Um, so you're kind of expected to fight those guys with guns, or just if you have the means, like if it's not like an outright battle, you have the means to just try to like sneak past them or something. Yo, kombucha, how's it going? How's the DLC consumables going? Pretty good. Can't complain too much. Um, but yeah, we were just talking about another game at the moment that I played recently, and I'm thinking of replaying on stream called Conscript. But yeah, I'd say the only downsides to the game were that because I played it with what I felt should be kind of the intended settings of like the soldier difficulty, which is relatively challenging, the and neither of the optional settings turned on for either unlimited saves or checkpoints when you die, meaning that I can only save a number of times, or specifically with ink items, and if I die, I go all the way back to my most recent save, which could potentially be a long time if I haven't, gotten to a save point. There's one segment where you're trying to go through like a minefield, and they give you like a little map as to like how you're supposed to go through the minefield, but it's laid out in a weird way. It's like intentionally meant to be confusing. And even when like, so first off, the first time I walk out there, I immediately blow up and die instantly, right? So it sent me back a pretty good ways, and I was just like, okay, well, that sucks. I then planned ahead for the next time I got back there. I saved after completing some other things, so I would not have a big run back to do. It was still a little bit of a run back, but not like a crazy one, at least. And then I got back there and I'm trying to like decipher this map, and then I blow up again, and I'm just like, okay, maybe this is laid out in a weird way and I have to look at it a little bit differently. So by the third time I get back there, I understand what I'm supposed to do and I follow it correctly, but I somehow still blow up at the very end. And I don't know if it was a bug. I don't assume so. Or it just seemed like there was something slightly trolly left in there. Like even if you follow the map, you have to like skirt this one spot at the very end, like very carefully, or you will still like somehow step on a landmine. Even though it's like part of the safe path, which didn't make any fucking sense to me, but that's just, you know, how it was. So I died like I think like four times doing that thing, and it was just annoying to have to reload my save repeatedly to an instant death trap thing like that. That's like intentionally meant to be confusing. The only other time I had an issue with it was my game crashed once. I was very confidently going through an area and I hadn't saved in like an hour. And you know, some of that's my own fault, my own hubris, but like I had no way of really, there was no real reason to expect a setback because I was just kind of doing like little stuff and unlocking a bunch of stuff with a lot of running around, because like in like the 5th chapter of the game, like you end up in like a town area that's just very maze like, so it just has a lot of running around. And it just it really took the wind out of my sails because like the game just like crashed for like a random little error, or like it just auto aborted and closed the game because of the error, and it just meant that I lost like an hour of gameplay. And a lot of it was just like somewhat tedious stuff, and I just was like, well, I guess I'm done playing this for today. Because that sort of, when that sort of shit happens, like it just kind of makes you not want to play. But that's not really a problem with the design of the game. It's just sometimes shit like that happens and it's frustrating, you know. It's just that because I could only reload a save that was like an hour previous, like it just sucked to kind of lose that progress in that kind of way, because it's completely out of your hands. Anyway, I'm concerned that we're going to lose power again because we already lost power once this morning. And it's hot outside, so no power is no bueno. Well, I hope that you don't. And if you do, I hope that it's like super short. You learn that you can manually put pots in storage and make a whole bunch of them at once yet. Apparently this is a thing. Yeah, you can. I don't know if you can put, hang on, because I'm not sure if I've ever tried. I don't remember if it's possible to just stack multiples of the exact same type in there, but you can at least make a full stack of each type. You just can only carry one full stack on you at any given time. Losing power is the worst. I lost like 10 days ago for like 8 hours. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Losing, just because in the fucking age that we live in, even just losing internet for a long period of time really sucks, because, you know, especially for me at least, like I'm very internet dependent on like, not just for like internet or for entertainment or socializing, but also any of my jobs. Like streaming, which is really more of a hobby, not really a job, but I still kind of treat it sort of like one. My regular job and the guide work stuff all require me to have an internet connection. So if I lose internet, I'm kind of screwed and just can only sit on my hands or maybe look at my phone for a little bit. Now I can use like my phone as a hotspot or something like that if I absolutely need to, so it's not the end of the world. But if I lose power, on the other hand, then I'm like really fucked. And I have definitely run into that here, even somewhat recently, although it wasn't so much just a straight up power loss. Although, actually, no, that's not true. I was thinking of the time that the power was intentionally shut off because they were doing work in the area, but more recently than that, I did actually have my power go out. The upshot of it was that it happened at night, so I was probably going to go to bed like maybe a half an hour after it happened anyway. The downside was that it was hot as hell, so I couldn't like have the AC or a fan on or anything, so I didn't sleep very well, and it was still not back by the time I woke up, because, well, they just weren't going to send somebody out in the middle of the night, I guess, to try to fix like a transformer that blew or something like that. So it didn't get fixed until the following morning, and honestly, it was like several hours into the morning that it finally got fixed. So, now normally having it happen in the middle of the night would otherwise be ideal because you'd hopefully just be sleeping and not really needing to be doing anything, but not when it's super fucking hot. Anyway, as far as this is concerned, we can put in a bunch of those and then we can make more. Which is not something I typically do, but just curious if I can store more than the 20 or if it only lets you do the 20 at a time. I feel like they should let you. Yeah, they do. Okay. Which I guess is good, but frankly, just because most of the time I'm just kind of crafting these on the go anyways, I don't really feel a lot of need to store them, so. But yeah, I knew you could at least like craft and store them because that's what I normally do to be somewhat efficient if I'm switching between volcano pots and something else. I just try to store my volcano pots rather than discarding them or using them, so that I can then craft a different type of pot. Vice versa. All right, so let's see. What do we have to do here? Completed Stone Coffin Fissure. I think pretty much everything in this Cerulean Coast is done. With the exception of maybe just revisiting the Finger Runes of Rhea for this quest, for Ymir's quest line, which I don't think I've done, or did I do that already? Because I might have. It says we have the Crimson Sea Talisman +1, so I'm assuming that means we did do it. Because I don't think I went to this one yet. Yeah, because it's not discovered. We probably should do that. Maybe let me just check with Ymir anyway, just in case I haven't spoken to him, because I think I did, but I just want to be sure. Oh, that's right. I know what happened. So we did speak to him, but we haven't gone back down because I wasn't sure if I wanted to fight to deal with Sword Hand of Night Anna just yet, because she's probably going to be hard for this run. Because we should be able to rot her, I think. But she does a lot of damage very quickly, which is going to be difficult to deal with, especially because we can't even really super rely on volcano pots, because she could just fucking throw a bunch of knives at our face like when we try to throw them down, so we could easily just get killed like just trying to do anything. We could try to cheese her and get her to like fall off of a ledge or something, because that is something people do a lot. Obviously I need to do it at some point because Ymir himself is technically a boss fight anyway, but also we need to get down to fight Medir at some point, so that's all a thing. There's no way to just like straight up skip Anna, because even if we go do the Finger Ruins of Dio right away and skip his next little bit, like as soon as we go down there, she'll invade no matter what. So I suppose it doesn't overly matter. It probably wouldn't hurt just to have some armor on for the fight, just so we're less likely to just instantly die, I guess. So my main thinking is just, do I want to do anything else beforehand? Maybe get some better equipment or something. We do have like we could throw in like the Verdigris set or something. It does have like even really good robustness, so that we're less likely to get bled. We'll just be very slow, but and obviously the Blue Dancer charm won't do anything, but I guess we could give it a shot. Just throw a bunch of armor on, just because my main concern with her is that we'll just get blood loss and fucking destroyed like instantly. I don't know if we want to be in heavy load. So it might be fine. Let's see how much we can get. Yeah, I don't want to be overloaded is the thing. How heavy is all this shit? I guess I don't. Yeah, that's right. I don't have very much endurance. That's why. Well, since we're not going to use that anyways, let me... I don't even have the Great Jars Arsenal. Wait, how do I not have that? I could have sworn I killed those guys. Did I not? Did I not ever kill the Great Jars Arsenal? Or the, you know, the Great Jar Knights? I could have sworn I did that on Consumables only. Because I remember them being a fucking pain in the ass, but maybe I didn't do it on this run. Was it just like the Ash of War only one that I was doing it on and struggling with? Or maybe I was doing it on this and struggling and then just eventually gave up on it or something. I mean, either way, this still gives me medium load with that, but I'll still probably be... Well, heavy load is better than over encumbered. Let's just see if she feels manageable. Alright. Well, I guess we can leave the smithing one off for the moment. Let's go with even more defense. Since really we just need fire damage here in hefty pots. We don't have any runes, so to speak, to worry about, so not really too concerned there. God damn, I hate when, like, these assholes, like, jump around corners. Oh, she even got time to roll that. The defense is definitely helping, because that would have done a lot more damage to me without this armor. Okay, she did the throwing one. I was like, how did that hit me from there? Fortunately, she did not get rotten, but there we go. Defense is helpful. Fucking hate her goddamn throwing attacks, man. She's so annoying with it. At least we have enough poise where her shit actually doesn't really do much to me, so I can just throw without getting interrupted. Feels good. Alright. Maybe we should be using this setup against fucking Rakshasa. There's no reason why we're not allowed to use defense or anything, so... It's just not my typical thing. I'm so chunky, though. Put my sweatpants back on. There we go. And then, what did we have? We had the smithing talisman here and the blue dancer's charm here. Which I might end up switching all this back again immediately if we go do Rakshasa soon, but that at least seems like a potentially viable strat, because the great katana, the Rakshasa's great katana is pretty gnarly damage-wise, and it's kind of a similar principle, except without the stupid throwing attack shit. Monked Moonra fell off a cliff yesterday. Nice.
Another bad dream, Yuri. What that rotten thing out of your mind. That tangled mess can't hurt you.
Enough of you. Stop. What did you just say? Wait, no. Say nothing. I have one star alone, and only his words will do. I will say that I am in your... but I will hear... I have one and only... Be on your way. I will hear no...
Okay. Just holding his little finger creeper baby.
Did you espy something unsightly, perchance? Well, put it out of your mind. The stars will reveal the truth in time. Free yourself of any misconceptions, lest they bring woe upon the both of us. Oh, Helen. Ever young Mikola saw things for what they were. He knew that his bloodline was tainted, his roots mired in madness. A tragedy, if ever there was one, that he would feel compelled to renounce everything when the blame lay squarely with the mother.
I'm not gonna buy any of his stuff. We'll get his bell bearing anyway, so... Okay, so now we can just visit the other finger ruins to get what we need there. I gotta fix my OBS. I got everything all flipped around when I was trying to mute stuff for that call, so... Alright, I guess, yeah, let's just go get these other finger ruins out of the way so we have the option to do Meteor when we want. I don't know if I'll do her right away. I think we should probably tackle the Dancing Lion as like the next major boss fight. I don't know how well it's gonna go. He's kind of a pain in the ass at times, as everyone is well aware, but not sure if I got everything over here already or not. I might have. I mean, obviously we haven't done the ruins itself, but when I ran through all this before, I might have grabbed what was here already. Just quickly check anyway. Apparently I'm in combat now, suddenly. Was, anyway. Yeah, so I guess we must have gotten the... Oh, no, we didn't. There it is. Just looked like it was looted already. Two fingers, sarcophagi over there if you need it. Should do it, you son of a bitch. Okay. Only 5 packages left to rinse. Hey, let's go. Yeah, I kind of would have liked, you know, again, not just here, you know, in the Abyssal Woods would have been really nice, but would not have minded some sort of, like, Finger Ruins mini-boss or something. It's, you know, something new as well, not just, like, another old game repeat, but... Gonna get a teleporter. Okay, we did not, because I didn't get paralyzed, so one just didn't teleport. That is good. Alright, so that's done. Let's just come on back here. There is like a Shadow Realm rune that I think I grabbed it already though, so I'm not going to worry about it. The only thing I think we didn't really specifically maybe do was kill the Colossal Finger Creeper, but since I don't really need the ashes anyway, I'm not really going to worry about it.
I heard enough. See a star dressed to show on the contrary now. May you. Oh yeah, this he. Do you recall that Marek? Well,
Sorry, I'm just
he
doing
has
his
nothing
dialogue
to
stuff, and
with
I still
all, and
kind of
you-
just skip through it. And then that unlocks Fleeting Microcosm, which is kind of a cool spell. Not always the easiest to hit certain things with, but definitely pretty good. Okay, so that's set up for when we want to do it. So let's see, what do we have here? We've already done the Hippo. We've done all of the Shadowkeep bosses with the exception of Mesmer, although we haven't killed the ulcerated tree spirits here. So I guess that's something we could do. Just for the heck of it, I guess. Because again, they're not bosses, but they're just... They're sort of boss adjacent enough that I kind of want to kill them. I always forget about this fucking crab. Okay. I rolled... I have not been hit by that grab in quite a long time. But I just rolled slightly too early. Oops. Well, okay. Nobody saw that. I just pressed the wrong button accidentally. I can't fucking see shit. Hate when you're like right up against a wall with these guys. Stop moving away. But damn, he is just evading shit now. Real annoying about it too. I think I've struggled this much with a ulcerated tree spirit in a while. Mind you, I don't really struggle with them at all anymore. It's just, number one, our fire damage is not doing very much because this guy's just sitting in a big puddle of water, but yeah, also, I mean, I guess that's the main reason. I'm not sure why otherwise it would do so little damage to him. Because normally that does quite a bit more. I mean, I guess we don't need to craft those until we need them. Just in case we need other hefty pots, it's good just to leave those slots open, I guess. Okay, so that's that one dead. We get a spell that we're not going to use. One that's not even especially useful to begin with. I mean, obviously people do like roll-only runs, so having a spell like Mantle of Thorns along with, you know, like the Briar set just adds to it, so in that regard it's cool to have, but we get everything over here already? I think I did. I just didn't kill the ulcerated tree spirit. I'm getting stuck on literally everything here. I don't know how I didn't take damage, but so glad I didn't anyway. Okay, game. Game's being a little bit awkward for me today. I don't know what's going on, but now I'm inside this building. Okay. I suppose this works. It's kind of doing the job, although I'm missing now. Look at you all stuck in jail. I mean, technically I'm the one inside, but... It's weird, because I don't think I've, like, struggled with ulcerated tree spirits, like, at all in quite a while. It's not to say that I never get hit by them, but it's pretty rare. But to be fair, the terrain for these ones is not exactly the greatest, so... I imagine that had something to do with it. Alright, did we actually get everything from here? Because seeing all this loot in here makes me think that I maybe didn't loot that other room. Roll only sounds kind of fun. I think that it would be to some degree. Like, obviously, you could just focus on basically taking a bunch of endurance, mostly. I don't know if you really need much of anything else. Like, I... Alright, there we go. We got everything that I wanted from here. These guys are dead. All the other Shadowkeep adjacent bosses are dead. So only Mesmer remains, and we will do him later, because Mesmer, I imagine, will be kind of annoying with this. So I guess... what is next? Let's see. We still have 3 of the 4 mausoleums to do, Rakshasa being one we definitely want to probably do sooner rather than later, just for the extra damage, even though it does cause you to take extra damage too. I don't know how Dancing Lion is going to go, because Dancing Lion does not sit still very much, so I'm not sure how useful volcano pots are going to be. Doesn't mean that they're not worth trying, but I think they're going to be hard to hit the lion with. We may be stuck mostly using knives for that. We could also use, of course, other pots that just do more direct explosive damage instead of damage in an AoE that's like, you know, over time while they're standing in it. Got the big rune bears yet. There's the other catacombs up here to do. Obviously the Lamenter's Jail, but I'm still a little bit wary on that one. There's also Bonnie Jail. I don't think we've done that one either, have we? No. That one has the Curse Blade in it that's really annoying also. I don't think the Curse Blade will be too bad because she's pretty glass cannon-y, honestly. Does not have very much HP, but I still don't really know how well it's going to go necessarily with the stupid darkness. Yeah, I guess let's just go fight the lion next, or you know what? No, let's come over here. I want to give the Rakshasa another try, knowing that she should be rottable. Tells me that you know, it shouldn't necessarily be too bad if we can just kind of maybe do the same thing and just kind of stack up our defense and just not, hopefully not bleed out super fast. What do I have on here? We wanted defense, yes. This is... We can also get heavy load with this, which gives us extra HP, stamina, and equip load, which I guess is better than just doing just straight up equip load. It's not like a huge difference, but it's still more, so I guess it would be better in this case. Item crafting. I should probably try the hefty volcano pots at some point. I haven't really been doing that because I've been mostly only crafting the hefty rod pots, but... Well, this will be a bit of a weird one because with Anna, I wasn't really too concerned about, like, you know, not getting hit because I figured we could tank some of that damage. I'm not sure how well Rakshasa is going to go with this, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, so we got to get there. I probably waited to give myself the armor that I was going to be using. Right, I need to go down first. Yeah, that was a bit of an awkward jump. I didn't really mean to skip levels of that, but it's fine. Should also pick up any round rocks on the way because those are annoying for farming anyway, and we do occasionally use them. Whenever it's feasible to do so. Which is basically every fight, really, if you are determined enough, because obviously some people have done rock-only runs, you know, which sounds kind of fun, but it's basically just a more limited version of Consumables only, and since I already had Consumables only going, I didn't really feel like just limiting myself to only rocks. Especially because I'd probably want to cheat engine all the rocks in, just because farming those is kind of a pain in the ass, so... okay. Maybe should have adjusted my physic too, but I guess what we have is fine. The poison managed to headbutt me, and they usually never do that. The things that get me are usually the elbow or the explosion. The explosion sometimes is really difficult to avoid. It just kind of depends on where you are. Sometimes you have to kind of like intuit when they're going to do that little transition and just try to get some distance, but every once in a while you just sort of get stuck in a corner, and your best bet at that point is just to try to block. However, sometimes you get really unlucky and you block the explosion to take less damage from it, but then you also simultaneously get hit by one of the, like, ground spouts from the explosion, so you get double hit, and you just kind of get screwed by that. All right, let's do this. Or try. This is really rough with Fat Roll. I can't fucking get away from her shit. This is probably not gonna work out. Because she still just does a, like, horrendous amount of damage even with all this extra defense stacked up. It's fucking... I do feel like her... I genuinely kind of feel like they intentionally or accidentally overtuned her damage, because it's kind of insanely high. Because I'm you know, at 40 vigor is not necessarily like insane or anything, but considering, you know, we have 18 Shadow Tree fragments, like the fact that she can do that much damage to me with that much defense says a lot about the overpowered nature of her weapon. What I don't like about these rot pots, despite their design, is they don't really seem to kind of work the way I feel like they should, which is that they should not necessarily have to be a direct hit. How did that still not rot you? Been hit by 2 already. 3 is... Are you just not rottable compared to your friends? Because you should be, but 3 direct hits should have been more than enough. Well, this sucks. I wonder if they made her immune recently. Because for the dancer, it only took 2. 3 should have, you know, I could understand 3, but 3 should have definitely been enough. And that was 3 direct hits too, not like, you know, a minor thing or something. This might not really work out for us. We could try... We could try roped pots. I should have probably made those, honestly. I keep forgetting to really do that. But again, the problem is, like, when you only have 20, it just kind of doesn't work out great. Because the issue with these enemies is just how fucking much they just roll around. Now, swarm pots I could also potentially make some use out of, but just because they do linger. But again, it's a similar situation of, like, just actually being able to use these things properly to really do anything, because it's not going to do that much damage, and the bleed is really all we're looking for. I wish more hefty pots, especially considering how long they take to throw out, actually left, like, damaging fields on the ground for longer than they actually do. Because it kind of sucks that they just don't really work that way at all. I think we need to get roped fire pots to begin with. Just because dodging her, you know, whilst throwing anything normally, especially since she'll just dodge most of our shit, just does not really work out great for how we've got this set up. And then we need to come up with a... I guess we'll try hefty volcano pots to supplement with, although they're going to be a pain in the ass to use. Actually, we can't even really make them. I can only do, like, 2, if that. So maybe we'll do hefty bleed pots or something. Bigger AoE and longer lingering. They do already have a bigger AoE. The problem is just that, like, for whatever reason, when used against the player has to dodge, like, very precisely to not get hit. But enemies, like, NPC enemies, they seem to always frame perfect dodge them, so they can just immediately get out of it. Whereas, like, when Moore throws a hefty rot pot at you, you can dodge it casually and still get rotted. Like, even though it doesn't actually hit you, you'll just get rotted anyway, and it's really fucking lame. Like, you have to, like, dodge much more frame perfectly, whereas NPCs just kind of get to automatically do that shit, so they just always avoid it unless they don't dodge. Which is pretty dumb. I want to say there's a little bit of splash for the freeze pot that if they don't dodge, I mean, well, all of them have some splash that if they're not dodging, they'll still technically get hit by, but again, it's just difficult to kind of keep them getting damaged by anything like that. I'm gonna have to buy more rope soon too. So we'll make those, we'll make as many of these. We'll make as many these as we can, I guess. I don't know that these fly pots are going to be worth it, to be honest, but we'll give it a try. And I don't really want to farm them up to do more with it. We could do red lightning, freezing pots, maybe. I think we just forgo other pots and just try to use knives or whatever where we can, or even round rocks. And do the best we've got with it, because if we can get her, like, staggered, it won't be so bad. It's just a matter of, like, actually getting to her to some sort of manageable point. I suppose that would be the other thing worth potentially trying, would be to just make hefty rock pots and just try to hit her with them. But again, doing that, easier said than done. But yeah, from a player's facing standpoint, I wouldn't want those pots to be too much longer lingering or bigger AoE, because they'd be really difficult to avoid at that point. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice if at the very least these things were a little bit more cooperative. All right. Oh, fuck you with that roll catch. That's bullshit. Like, they're doing damage, but God, I wish that could stagger you. I just wish they would also bleed you, but she might just be fully immune to shit. Which is what I had initially expected. God, why can't you be fucking hit by anything? I don't think we're gonna get a bleed, so I think these swarm pots just weren't even really the play to begin with. Hit, because of course, and of course. God, I fucking hate this boss, man. This boss She honestly used to not be that bad, but they buffed the ever-loving fuck out of her at the release for some completely unknown reason. Like, she was perfectly decently balanced, I'd say, but then they just made her way too fucking strong. And on top of that, she technically got an inadvertent indirect buff recently, by them making Weed Cutter better, which didn't really need to be better, frankly. It was a little... Oh shit, I made the wrong fucking kind, didn't I? God damn it. Whatever. The problem is I am having a really hard time getting any damage in on her. That's really my whole issue. It's like, we just take so long to hit her for anything. And all it takes for her is to swing like once, and she does like 3/4 of my HP. Come on, where are you going? Hey, no worries. Enjoy your dinner, Red. Stop rolling away. Just get hit by some of it at least. The whole point of this entire fucking endeavor is to get you to fucking walk into it a little bit. It's doing no damage. What I need is more hits like that, because it does almost twice as much. And the other issue is, like, we're not making much progress because she's still going to heal as well. Very clear mistake when they fucking design these mausoleum bosses, man. Like, obviously, again, this is a challenge run. It's not like it should just be a pushover, but like, every single one of these is overtuned to shit. Like, even the dancer, the only reason she wasn't so bad is because resistances wise and stuff, she doesn't have anywhere near as much. What? I rolled. Fuck. What the fuck, game? God, it's so fucking stupid when it just ignores the inputs. Fuck. Like, the problem is I'm not going to get much more powerful than this, so I don't really have a choice other than just to kind of do this shit and just keep beating my head against the wall until it just happens. Because unfortunately, this fucking boss is just that terrible. And it's going to be every much the same with Red Bear and the fucking Black Jail, the Black Jail Knight, so they're... unfortunately just really bad. Like, fighting her normally is not a problem. It's just trying to fight her with shit like this that sucks. Rolled that. Okay, so that has to happen in front of you or you will just dodge it, apparently. And why did they make all the new consumables so trash, too? Because, like, fire coils are not bad. Like, if I could just use fire coils on her, we'd be fine. But the fact that they only let you carry 10 of them just fucking sucks. For obvious fucking reasons. I'd like a chance to use another one, but again, I can't do it from close to you, where you just dodge through it. Just maybe I aim away from you to start. Oh, that just went nowhere. Fuck's sake, man. She's just so fucking hyper aggressive all the time. Fuck off with these roll catches, man. Literal 180 degree tracking. What? Of course. There you are, 50 million miles away. Not getting hit by any of it. Alright, we may have to just use fucking round rocks and just try to time this out to the best of our ability. At least those stagger, and they actually do pretty good damage with our current stats. As long as it doesn't miss. Problem is, every time we die, we lose a considerable amount of resources that I'm not getting back. Without considerable farming. Shit. Come on, don't do it. Do your fucking weed cutter or something so I can heal, thank you. So why are you not healing it? I think actually hefty rock pots might be the play here, as much as they seem like such a fucking meme thing to use against her. Just because I don't have like any other way to hit her. Oh, fuck's sake. God damn it. Of course you'd do a jumping attack right then. Fucking AI is so annoying. Can't believe that still hit me. The range on round rocks is pretty bad, is the one thing, so you can't really use it from far away, at least not with lock-on anyway. If you free aim it, it's not too terrible, but... hit. Oh my god, the fucking damage. Can't move, can't do anything, and I'm fucking dead. Oh, this fucking game, man. God, this fucking boss is so fucking trash. Like, the least they could have done is just not make... fucking the great katana she uses, like, just so fucking absurdly ridiculous. It's gonna miss. Of course, she fucking somehow didn't get staggered there. She just gets just enough hyper armor with Weed Cutter, I guess. Come on, give me a fucking chance to do something. Stop fucking being hyper aggressive. Are you fucking joking? How did that hit me still? Come on. Fucking reach is ridiculous. Stuck on something random. Okay, just go a million miles away for no reason. This is gonna get hit. And it made me dodge the wrong way. I hate when you fucking do that shit. It's so fucking obnoxious. There's nothing I can do about it. This is the only way to consistently hit her. So if she just happens to do a jump attack, I just get screwed. Unless I just get the one frame where it hits her before she happens to hit me and it knocks her out of the air, which is super advantageous when it happens, because then... yeah, that time I didn't even get the throw. But otherwise, super advantageous when it happens because, you know, she gets knocked to the ground and I can get another hit in. Where'd my... again, game! Ugh, these fucking eat and roll inputs, man. It's so... ugh. At least fucking play fair, game. Like, let me fucking actually dodge the attack when I press the button. God, it sucks to get more than halfway through the fight considering she's healed already. So we gotta fight her whole health bar plus an extra half of health bar on top of that. Only for her to fucking, you know, just get a free victory because the game just can't fucking honor my roll inputs. Alright, what the fuck else can we actually use here, if anything? Let's just give me more defense, but I'm sure it's not going to really help. So out of not much of anything that I end up wearing, we're going to end up reducing our damage a little bit, but still be in medium load. I guess we could use this or something. Maybe it'll somehow be enough to help a little bit. Just to not get fucking one-shot by a stupid fucking eat and roll input like that. Effectively one-shot, because it's not like she killed me in one hit. The problem is that all it takes is one moment like that. How the fuck did you just die? All it takes is one moment like that where my roll just does not get fucking honored. She hits me with an attack that then staggers me long enough to get hit by the follow-up, so I just can't do anything. Well, because the game fucking just does not fucking work sometimes. We also can't really do this forever. I've got like a limited amount of tries before we have to just give up and do something else. Because I am not going to fucking farm round rocks all stream, because that shit takes fucking forever. What else can we do here? I guess we could Golden Vow, but I don't know, man. Seems like a bad idea to be using these other buffs in the first place. Fuck's sake. What a waste. Fuck off, game. Okay, well, at least we only lost one. I fucking hate this boss, dude. It sucks so bad. I mean, again, in any normal fight, I'd just fucking overpower her with something and it wouldn't be a problem, but this genuinely just fucking sucks to do. Shit. This boss is making me, unless we get it like real soon, this boss is gonna potentially require a fucking save file. It's not a fucking hard boss, it's just dumb bullshit. Oh fuck's sake, dude. Because I can't be just hemorrhaging all these hefty rock pots this quickly if I want to have any sort of chance at like doing this consistently. It takes too long to fucking farm round rocks and shit. That's all of them. Okay, weird. Yep, of course. Can't tell if I'm somehow getting counter hit damage or if that's just like a weird headshot thing that's happening. It's not piercing, so it shouldn't really do counter hit damage, I don't think. But then again, it might just be like some sort of opportunity attack damage, because that is also technically a thing. At least it was in the past. I don't know if it really still is or not. Alright, we got there eventually. Fuck that fucking boss, dude. She fucking sucks so bad. Alright. At least we had an inn of some sorts with the fucking round rocks and hefty rock pots, but that was like our one chance to make that work, though, because we only had so many round rocks. Just that everything else did so little damage to her. And some other type of pot otherwise would have potentially done better damage, but good luck hitting her with any of them. Be the exact same thing of having to bait her into basically like execution melee range, you know, just being completely point blank in your face and just hope to hit her with the thing before she hits you, and hope that it also staggers her, because if you don't stagger her, you're just dead, which most of the regular pots aren't going to do, so. But I'm a little surprised she didn't get rotted. She might have been able to rot after like 4 direct hits, I don't know, but it just didn't really seem worthwhile at that point. Okay, at least it's over now. And the defense definitely did help a bit. Getting quite so ridiculously hurt, like, easily. Okay. So we get that stuff taken care of. I want to just, like, quickly come down here and just grab a few more round rocks. I'll farm them off stream, but just so that we have more than 12, in case I decide that I need to use them on anything. But if it comes down to fighting, you know, Red Bear or the Black Jail Knight, that kind of stuff I might just do on the next stream or something. We'll just, in case we have to use similar tactics, I want to just make sure we have a bunch of round rocks ahead of time instead of having like a super limited amount. I just wish these were easier to farm, or if you could just, again, just buy them. Be nice. See, because like there's more if you continue going up the river, but I don't know how worthwhile it is to try to collect all of these whilst I forget exactly where all the spots are now too. Just because there's a bunch of man flies and giant rats and shit, might be easier just to go from the grace and just collect those first, I don't know, 5 or whatever it is, and then just set. As much as I don't really like mini farms like that, it's easier and quicker. Unlike, you know, the volcanic stone one where it is a lengthy trip, but you're collecting a ton of volcanic stone as you go. So it ends up being worth the trip. Just being kind of a waste of time. Plus there's these bats over here for some reason. Just grab like these first 5 like a couple more times and then we'll get out of here. Go fight something else. Wouldn't mind an extra level or 2. How close are we at this point? We're at 57 strength, so 3 more levels and we'll probably pivot to something else, but I feel like at the very least the round rocks were only even working as well as they did there just because we've gotten some strength, thankfully. If I had left that pretty low, like it was at the start of the DLC. I mean, it wasn't very low, but it was, like, Dex was the only one that was particularly high. Because I want to say my strength was maybe at, like, 40 or something. Which is not, it's not low, but you know what I mean. Just getting, like, an extra 20 points on top is pretty worthwhile, I think. You know, if I'm feeling more like doing this tomorrow, assuming that I get the chance to stream, then we will do more, but I might throw Conscript into the mix for the heck of it, possibly as early as then. I am going to be playing some other games too, and obviously, I mentioned before that there will probably be some more co-op stuff here once, you know, I'm 100% officially done with the guide stuff, which I more or less am, but, you know, as evidenced by already today, there's a small task I need to take care of, you know, after stream. So, speaking of which, I probably won't go super long today. I don't know how much, you know, knowing that they're hitting me up on a weekend means that there's probably nothing major that needs to be done, but shit that still needs to get done quickly. So, knowing them, they'll probably try to throw 1 or 2 other things at me, and I don't want to, like, leave it all for late in the evening, especially if they're trying to get it done quickly. I would obviously very much like to be done and actually have free time again and stuff, so. But when I do have more time, yeah, I think we will probably start mixing in some other games again, and in addition, I've talked to Dodo a little bit. We might do some co-op here stuff soon. I've also talked with Marcus and Charlie and Spy and Birdo. We might also do some other stuff as well, once again. Possibly more Elden Ring co-op, but, you know, maybe some other things as well. I won't say what now, but we have some ideas, so. Now, some of that is not going to happen until probably next month, just because I'm going on my trip soon, and I know Spy is entertaining, like, house guests. Well, both Spy and Charlie are entertaining house guests for at least another couple weeks or something, both. They just both happen to have people staying with them, which Adds a little bit. All right, let me get like 10 more, so that's like 2 more trips, I think. Just call it there. Round rocks, that's enough to... Oh, I forgot to rest. Enough to be, you know, a not tiny amount. Not enough to really make much use out of if we have to start making hefty rock pots, but I will say that with the scaling of them now, those hefty rock pots are actually not bad. Which I kind of already knew about just because, you know, people have done like rock only runs where they do either just the round rocks or they do round rocks plus hefty rock pots, I guess. And clearly they hit pretty hard. Now, they're not going to hit like crazy hard compared to like a weapon most of the time, but at least not. They might hit as hard or harder than a lot of weapons actually, but they aren't going to have the DPS of a weapon just because obviously they're very slow and pretty, you know, they leave you kind of vulnerable to use in the first place. Unless you have a lot of defense and a lot of poise to maybe keep you from staggering while you're trying to throw it. Depends on what you're getting hit by, because I don't know that you get any temporary poise while you're throwing a round rock or throwing a hefty rock pot. Probably not, or if you do, it's probably very minimal. And there's only so much poise you can get from armor and even the bull goat talisman, so some stuff is just going to knock you out of it no matter what. Seems good enough for now. It was out of combat and then suddenly ended up in combat again, so... But yeah, until I'm back from my trip, I probably won't plan on anything like really big. Or if I do, you know, like I might make plans, but I don't know if we'll start anything huge before I leave, so it'll probably be the rest of the consumables only run. We'll do conscript maybe here. And then possibly a little bit of co-op with some people here before I go, just with smaller stuff. And then I might have like 1 or 2 other games lined up we can also do. I do also kind of at some point need to revisit like my incentives from the stream anniversary, just because most of those were kind of like to be determined, just to kind of be done during the year at some point. And I've already done the Elden Ring based ones, I think, because technically they didn't include the DLC. Although, actually, I don't remember. Did we finish consumables only before I did that stream anniversary? I don't remember now if that was one of the incentives, or I'd have to look. Or if I had said that one of the incentives would be to continue this in the DLC. Because if it was to continue it in the DLC, then technically I'm doing one of the incentives now. But yeah, the cooking stream at some point. That, you know, I'm hoping at least that will happen sometime this year. Obviously, that was the intention. It's just been obviously a very busy year, so... And I have to kind of plan around a whole setup, and I may have to buy some equipment as well for it, just to... I don't really care about trying to get, like, the world's best camera or anything for it, but I need to make sure that I have, like, a consistently good setup for cooking and being able to capture what I'm doing. And the question there is, you know, am I doing it while I'm on camera? At which point does that mean, do I want to do... You know, do I want to just start being on camera before I do the cooking stream, or am I going to just have, like, a super zoomed in camera angle of just what I'm cooking or something, which, you know, is fine because people do shit like that, and I can certainly do that. I have to figure out the logistics of how I'm going to do it and in which way that I want to do it, because I don't want to necessarily just be on camera fully if I haven't just already started doing that. And I do intend to start doing that at some point, probably. I don't have to, but it's just something that I've wanted to do. I just never really got around to doing it. Some of that is just, you know, because it's extra shit to think about, especially because streaming is already, for me, with my track record of, like, even things like my internet being spotty, like, adding an extra peripheral to a stream that takes up a considerable amount of, like, resources for your bitrate and stuff like that always makes me a little bit wary, which is one of the big reasons why I haven't really tried to do a lot with it, because it's also why my stream just in general doesn't have typically a lot of bells and whistles. Even when it comes to like channel point redemptions. Although I did actually make some edits to the channel point redemptions. I removed like one or two. It may have just been one. No, I think it was like two of the voice redeem things, because there are ones that never really get chosen much, and I either just kind of do them here and there anyways, or whatever. Yeah, hydrate, thank you. I have water right here. That one I just kind of threw in there because, sometimes it's good to have the reminder. Also, I capitalized the H and the D. I hope you all appreciate that. But I put in a couple of challenge ones too, which, hopefully people will be somewhat merciful for. Obviously, I put them in there at somewhat higher point redeems for a reason, but I know a lot of people who watch regularly probably have a lot of points to spend. I know most of the people who watch regularly are not going to be mean enough for me to need to think about a cooldown, but if, anything like that happens, I can always put one in. So I'm trying to remember now. It's basically just like assuming the game allows for it. There's a button ban one. You get to choose what button I don't use for, I think it's like 5 minutes. Obviously, if I'm playing a game that I'm using my controller, that just means pick a button on the PS5 controller that I don't get to use for 5 minutes as kind of a temporary challenge thing for fun. And the other one, like that can be literally any button, including just the left analog stick even. You could just say, well, you just don't get to move for 5 minutes. I don't think most people will choose that one because I won't really be able to do much of anything if I can't move. So it'd be kind of otherwise enforcing a bit of a break. But you could always ban like the circle button, which means no sprinting or dodging or backstepping or anything like that, which again would be totally fair. I would suspect that in most cases such as that, I simply will likely die, especially if I'm in the middle of a challenge run already. Though, what I will say is that, like, I'm not concerned about people using it in a mean-spirited way in the first place, but even if it's something that I just kind of don't want to do, I can always just refund somebody's points. And just, ask them to do it again at a different time if I'm just really not feeling it. Most of the time, I think I will be happy to just give it a go, but... And then the other one was, like, use a currently available weapon or armor, which you have to type something in for, but that obviously would apply in something like Elden Ring, but as long as the game allows for it, it can really be in any game. If I'm playing, would be a good example. Change weapons during certain challenge runs, probably no go. Yeah, like obviously it's like within reason, right? So if I'm already doing a consumables only run and someone tells me to use a short sword, that's not really going to work because it would negate the challenge run. But if somebody wants me to put on a particular armor or take off a particular armor or something while I'm doing that challenge run, that's fair game. So, assuming that I have it, because that's part of it. It says like currently available, so I don't want to have to necessarily go run and get something, especially if it takes steps to do. It's different if I can just quickly warp back to the base game, or I might be game for it, is what I'm saying. If I can just warp back to the base game and just go pick something up really fast to wear, I might be willing to do that, or even use in the case of a weapon. But if I have to like go kill a boss, which means clearing a dungeon, or which means doing a quest line or some other random shit like that, like those things that involve steps where I might have to go a lot more out of my way to do, those I probably won't consider to be reasonable. If I already have it, obviously it's just already available, so that's fine. But yeah, so hopefully that all makes sense. And I still want to add some other redeems too. These are just like preliminary ones that I was thinking about, and I'm still open to suggestions. If anyone thinks of interesting stuff, they may not necessarily all be what I'll want to go with or whatever. It just depends on what feels like a good fit. It doesn't mean people can't make suggestions, because it's always good to have ideas. All right, so I think before we go to our next thing, I'm going to take like a quick break to run to the restroom and also get some more coffee, but I want to first decide where we're going. Because there's not really anything else we need to go out of our way to get, with the exception maybe we did craft a lot of these. We still have plenty, I'd say. How are we on string and volcanic stone? Well, fine for now, I guess. So we can always buy string at this point, so still have plenty of volcanic stone for today, at least. Hey, welcome back, Red. You had a good dinner? Food was good. What'd you eat? I guess the next thing we want to do is probably just the dancing lion. Otherwise, we've got the big red bears to fight. We've got the other catacombs. We could do the Scorpion River catacombs. Those shouldn't be too bad for something like a little bit more chill. But I feel like we should probably do the dancing lion next, because I said that I would try to do it like in the stream. Actually, before we actually fight the dancing lion, we should get rid of the ulcerated tree spirit here too, just for the heck of it. So we can do that first. Take me here. I think I opened up the passage already, so we can just go down there pretty easily. It does not appear to be open, but do we have the key? Yeah, we have all the keys, so we can at least get down there. Alright, something to deal with when we get back. But yeah, for the moment, yeah, I'm going to quickly run to the restroom and then make a little bit more coffee real fast too. So give me just like 2 minutes, y'all, and then I'll be back and we'll go kill that tree spirit, and then we'll go kill the dancing lion, and then we'll figure out where we're going from there. Alright, quick BRB. Alrighty, I am back. Got my coffee. Alright. Let's get to it. So, in order to kill the guy that we want to kill, we just gotta go down this way. I guess I just did not go here, because we ran through Bellerat before, I just didn't accomplish everything here. Oh, he followed me down here. If we're gonna fight this dude, let me just throw those on the bar for the moment. Some weird lag here. So I guess I just didn't even come down here at all then, in which case there should still be like items to collect. I thought I had come down here before when I did my initial run through, but I guess not. I think mainly I was just interested in getting the you know, getting the thingies, the graces. Why did he immediately go into that? A little bit gypped there because I could have sworn it seemed like I would be far away enough for that, but apparently not. Easy enough, though. Man, I'm so glad they didn't put, like, a fucking Lake of Rot 2.0 in this shit. I know a lot of players were even just kind of, like, anticipating that that's exactly what they were gonna do, and they were just like, oh, there's gonna be a fucking sleep swamp and a death blight, or a, you know, madness swamp, and yada yada. I was just like... I know Miyazaki will put in more poison swamps, but it's not necessarily going to be those things. Thanks for the GGs. Yeah, that one was considerably easier, I guess. Just, I don't know if Poison Swamp counts as, like, if it imparts a similar bonus to just, like, standing in water. I'm assuming it doesn't, even though it is liquid. I'm not sure that it imparts the same sort of fire resistance bonus. It might. It could just be that the one that's down here is considerably weak compared to the others, but... yeah, I'm glad there's not a sleep swamp. Or more particularly, like, you could kind of consider something like the Abyssal Woods to be, in a way, its own sort of, like, madness swamp, even though it's not really a terrain issue. But there's, you know, with the aging untouchables there, you've got something kind of similar going on. And for sleep, the best thing you got really is, like, Stone Coffin Fisher plus the Garden of Deep Purple within it. But there's no, like, you know, just sitting in an area and continuously taking sleep build up just because you're standing in something. It's more just stuff going on place in general. Guy, I believe, drops his sword. He's gonna kill him for it, for the hell of it. I really thought I would get the roll there, but still so much of a lag time between when he did it plus my attack. Feels good to be coming back to like easier enemies though at this point. Like they're relatively easier in this part of the DLC comparatively. Because that's what I was saying before, is just that like most of the DLC has, I think, similar scaling because of like how non-linear it mostly is, but however, at least with Bellerat, and, well, Gravesite Plain specifically, like, generally speaking, enemies are a little on the weaker side, I'd say, compared to the other areas. Alright. Some more of those. Heal up. I guess we'll open up the shortcut even though we really don't need to. Shortcuts like this are always a little bit, like, silly to me in a way, because it's good to have connecting points, don't get me wrong, especially if you were ever going to do like some no bonfires or, you know, no graces challenge run, because people obviously do that, but at least, you know, anywhere where it's like not mandatory where you like have to sit at one for some reason. But I don't know, like having like a little connecting point to this, unless you intend to go back down, it's sort of weird, I guess. I don't know if we opened the way to Grandames or not, but I guess we could check.
Who are I to look at me? How do
Yada yada yada.
Listen,
I'm not listening. I'm skipping your dialogue. You talk way too slowly. Bee. Alright, now I think we're good to just kind of go up, because there might be like an item or two that we missed, but we got everything that was like important in this area already, so. Oops, oh fuck, I keep making the wrong fucking shit. This is what happens when your inventory starts getting like just so full, or your crafting menu gets so full of just different but similar choices. You stop, you know, you start looking for like characteristics and then not really paying attention, so you just end up crafting the wrong thing. Alright, I guess we should just squeeze out a level while we're here. I don't really expect it to be a big deal, but since we are getting kind of close to one, I'd rather not have the likelihood of losing it to this boss, if that's likely to occur. We're not going to use anything from you, but that might be overkill. Very good. Almost all the way down to nothing. I thought the tiny rot puddles were kind of funny when I first saw them. Tiny rot puddles. What are we talking about? Alright, I think there's some small rot swamp puddles in the area below Rao Ruins where the kindred of rot. Oh, that I get what you mean now. Yeah. Sorry, I was. When you say puddles, I was picturing something like really small, like an actual puddle, like a small circle on the ground. So I was like, what rot puddles? No, I know what you mean now. The little mini rot areas where they are in the ruins. Alright, I guess we'll try doing this with kind of just what we have at the moment and see how it goes. I think we're likely going to have to use knives mostly, but we'll give volcano pots a shot since we already have them. Hopefully he'll be weak enough that we can just kind of do enough damage. I just don't really expect him to sit still long enough really to take much damage from these. That's the issue, so I think we're going to likely have to use other shit. But, you know, if these feel like they don't work out well, I'll switch to something else. Damage is not terrible, at least. Oops. Okay, well, it was supposed to be a roll, but I think I was just a little late. Buffered roll there. Okay, I couldn't fucking do anything because I couldn't see. I was waiting for that at the start, but then he did his leap over instead. Not good timing. God damn it, I keep going past the thing I'm trying to use. Alright, no problem. We're technically pretty overpowered for him. Well, it's weird saying that with a consumables only run because obviously we do good damage. He said do. But you know, the main thing really is not even so much the damage we're dealing so much as it's just, you know, we don't get completely obliterated by him, whereas your much more likely to when you have no Shadow Tree blessings or just a few. You know, if you go out of your way to go to, like, especially if you go to Shadow Altus briefly before fighting him and you get up to like 6 or 7 even, or certainly any higher than that, then he becomes much easier. Let's go talk to the stranded soul up here for shits and gigs, and then I guess we'll go do something else. Because that was pretty quick and easy, actually. I didn't really think he would be particularly hard. Now, the one in Ancient Ruins of Rao might be kind of rough. It's mainly because of the ads, but also just because he's a lot stronger. I guess we could just go kill the other one real quick. We have the means to do that. Or I say real quick, but again, there's no suggesting that it's going to go that simple. But, okay, so you're done. And what did we do before this? We did Rakshasa, so that's already been marked. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. Yeah, because we spent time farming, really, so. Sure, let's come over here and just see if it's worth giving it a try, because it might be kind of rough. I was at 4 or 5, I think. 4 or 5 is still, like, not bad. Like, that's kind of where they sort of expect you to be, is, like, around 4, I think, when you're doing it. Just in terms of, like, where everything is for that challenge. I guess it's fine to come from here. I'm trying to think of, like, if there's an easier way to get there with less enemies in the way, but... don't know if it's going to matter too much. We mainly just need to get there. I don't think Sparkly Boy over here has anything important, but... just kill him anyway. Or not. I forget this just leaves like a big fucking wall of an elevator over here when you have it raised up. Okay, can't do that on the elevator. I guess I just should have come from the other grace. So we gotta grab like 1 or 2 of those while we were here too. Alright, let's go out here. I'm thinking we might want to go down along the little stone. Oh yeah, I guess that's where we need to go. I'm trying to remember exactly how you get up to where we need to go, but I think you have to go down there. Maybe? I don't know. It's been a bit since I've done this area, so I kind of don't remember off the top of my head. I didn't do early Shadow Altus this time. Certainly had the earlier fragments plus one of the Cerulean Coast ones. Yeah, gotcha. Now, obviously, with this particular run, I didn't want to be, like, especially weak, since we were already having the drawback of just using consumables, so... So, make sure I got everything over here if I didn't already. Looks like we maybe did that already. Not seeing any items here. Oh no, never mind. Open this chest. I thought there was an item in that other room too, but I guess I'm just thinking of the Raoul Burrow that's in there. Okay, now up this elevator. There's our grace that we have not yet collected. The stuff that we're heading towards. Alright, sort chest. I want to see about, and just grab a couple more of these. Don't let me forget that there's like 2 more in there still. It don't really matter much in the grand scheme of things, but it's just good to know that it's there, I guess. Get that dog. Did only hit the one, but I guess that's better than nothing. That's a bit of a... That angle's a little surprising that he was able to hit me from there. Is there another dog? It's not really better to do that. Like, obviously, if you're using a visceral, you know, or like a critical attack, I mean, you're in pretty good shape to hit those guys in their chest with the critical, but when you're just using, like, any other ranged attack or even normal attack, they don't really seem to take the same type of bonus damage to their chest as in the way that you think that they should. It's mostly just their legs and wrists. Which does seem rather silly to me, but... It's damage we didn't really need to take, but okay. Okay, that was a bit of a weird one. What? Okay, lingering hitbox. Come on now. Guess I might as well use the pillars to my advantage. They're kind of hard to use with other shit, but I don't really have to be particularly looking at him. Problem is the fucking Deathblade shit, because it goes fucking everywhere. I really should have made some fucking purifying or rejuvenating boluses, I mean. Get death bladed at some point here. It's just genuinely difficult to avoid the death blade in this. It literally just goes fucking everywhere. Well, that's all of those. I don't remember. Oh, fuck off, game. Don't do that shit. What? Okay. Alright. Not too bad. We got some camera fuckery at one point there just because of the stupid ads, but thankfully he was relatively cooperative when it came to the giant Deathblade clouds because he didn't really use it more than the one time. Because I did not make any rejuvenating boluses apparently previously. That's something we're gonna want to have for... We don't even have the recipe for it. Okay, well, we won't necessarily need them for the Scorpion River Catacombs, but since we're not really wearing much armor, we're probably going to need some. Or we'll just, you know, switch to some other armor when we're in there, I guess, just to make sure we don't get death-bladed easily. Because there's some rejuvenating boluses you can get while you're in there, and that's probably about all we'll really need, to be honest. Rather than just going out of our way to get the recipe for it. Okay, so that's both lions down. Honestly, with this run, I wouldn't have even minded them putting, like, a Frenzy Flame lion down here. I think I would have been perfectly fine fighting one. It would have been even funnier if it's summoned, like, Frenzy Flame goats as ads. What now? All right. Sorry, I'm getting work messages. All right. Hopefully that solves that issue. All right. Okay. All right. What the heck are we doing next? We still have Castle Ensis to do. We still have Meteor to do. It's mostly like big targets like Meteor that I feel sometimes have a tendency to go easier. Like the Dancing Lion, obviously we had no problem hitting. Meteor might be a bit more rough, but I want to say she's actually kind of weak to fire, but maybe not. I could be thinking of a different boss. She is in water, though, so... But Rolana, I think, is maybe going to be pretty hard. Now, she is, I think, scaled down a bit compared to some of the later stuff, so she might not be that bad. But I have a feeling that, number one, she is an enemy that dodges, which is already going to be its own pain. Now, because she's also very aggressive, I don't think that'll be too much of a problem, but hold on a second. Alright, sorry about that. Also, roommate dropping off the puppy dog. Cisco says hi. Okay. So... Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know, I kind of want to give Meteor a try. I don't know how well it's going to go, and then obviously directly after her, you don't have to fight Yolan and Ymir right away, and we might hold off on them just because I suspect they'll be kind of annoying, but we could do the tanky strat for Yolan. I don't think she'll be quite the same as Anna was, but we could probably still rot her and hit her with volcano pots and get the job done, because I don't think either of them actually heal. The thing though is, well, no, I guess it doesn't matter, because I was thinking that, like, if I want to be able to summon someone, because we're not going to summon Hornsent, I was thinking I'd want to have the option potentially to summon her in Mesmer's fight, but obviously I don't want to do that because that isn't really part of the challenge. So, speaking of, are you still mulling it over? Because I'm wondering why you haven't decided yet that Horn Scent should be eliminated. Just wondering if I missed something here. Or maybe I just need to talk to him still.
Allow me.
I think I just need to talk to him. Actually, before we do, this might not work, but it might be too late. Hold on. We can maybe get some free furnace visages while he's still here, but I'm not sure if we'll be too late to do it. Depends on if it gives us the dialogue before he leaves. Because that's why she's mulling it over, is just that he's still hanging around here, I guess. I think, anyway. So they're on the giant divine beast head.
Oh, so does. Oh, as I forget after. As if. Oh. I have my Santa take where they let them mice.
Alright, so we've got that.
Oh, mice.
We go back to the altar and just to reload things, and we'll talk to her again to get the scorpion stew. And then we'll just give that to Horn Scent if we can. I gotta craft more of these, I keep forgetting. Not that we need to use them on these guys, but... Interesting. I did more damage before I put this helmet on than after.
From higher. Welcome, oh glory. Pardon, surely.
Technically, you don't have to keep wearing the helmet when you talk to her again, though. I think it's only the first time. Alright, so that we've got. Now we just need to go back here and see if we can give it to him for the free furnace visages. Hopefully we won't really need them. I don't know if I'm going to care too much about even killing the other furnace golems, but since we're trying to kill boss adjacent things too, it would be nice to have the option to kill them. I just don't know how feasible it's ultimately going to be.
Think not to lest you. Think not lest you.
Can't talk to him. Alright. Well, it was worth a shot.
There you are. It took me, I believe it. If he were to vengeance and one day kindly me, even if his lineage.
Alright, I think the time has come
He must have wrecked the stench.
For us to eliminate the Horn Scent, just because, you know, I'd prefer not to, but, tis what it is, you know? The man must go, so we don't have to fight his ass later. Technically, we could... We could summon him. Well, we'd have to summon him to do his quest anyways, which is the main reason why I don't want to do it. Oh, I never opened that. Okay. Because I don't want to have to summon him for Mesmer. It's one thing for, like, Bale if I summon Egon for, like, the very last, like, right before he dies or something. Just because I don't think it'll be, like, a huge contribution. And I could kind of do the same with Horn Scent, but I just don't really want to have to try to do that with Mesmer of all bosses. I don't even really specifically want to do it with Bale and Egon. It's just that with those, at least in that regard, he spends enough time talking that we could probably even just get the kill before he even really has a chance to really do much of anything. Just a little too early. You have way too much health. You know, I've got more of those in storage. Let's just not craft them at the moment. I don't think we're going to use them for this fight. But yeah, Horn Scent, I'd love to just help you out and stuff. I wish I had, I could even technically, like, set it up on this run where it's like I go help him here to, you know, assist against Letta so I could get Swift Slash and then do a New Game Plus Swift Slash character on this dude instead, but we're just not going to do that. Since I fucked it up on the other one, I mean. But yeah, if we eliminate him here, he stays dead for good, so he will not show up later. And again, we don't even specifically have to do much. Like, she will likely kick his ass just because her light greatsword moveset is just honestly really fucking good. But we will help a little bit with some fire damage.
Will always show itself. Given time. Interfere not with my business. Zealot.
What a surprise. But you should join me here. I am pleased. Now go and make yourself useful.
So
Although they keep inadvertently avoiding it.
Through at last. I was a fool to expect more.
He either moves out of it or she pushes him out of it.
Mikola employed his spells.
Get out of my face with that shit.
Oh, mother. Wife.
I do feel bad for him. I mean, again, the horn scent, you know, the people they come from are not exactly innocent, but, you know, he also is not in the wrong for wanting revenge, because Mesmer did wipe out, like, his entire people, you know. Aside from a scant, like, handful of survivors, you know, Grandam kind of being among the Omen folk there, the horn scent, etc. I guess I'll come down here and grab this since I'm here. Damn, direct hit. That was a much less not direct hit, but I don't think there's any reason why I need this open, but I kind of want to just open it anyway. Free kukri, sure. Technically not free since it costs me fire pots, or sorry, volcano pots, but it's the principle of the thing. Okay, do I still have those remaining, like, 2 that are in here? Get those already. Still there. Alright. Item crafting. Bring me some more of those. And should be full up on those. Yes, okay. Alright. Also, how are we on knives and shit? Still looking pretty decent, actually. Just wish I wish you could buy round rocks, man. Because out of anything that I have right now that's actually useful in terms of consumables only, this is actually a pretty good weapon. And the hefty rock pots are also really good. I just wish that farming them was, like, not so shitty. But it's still weird to me that you can carry 999 of these and store 999 more. And yet for stuff like fire coils, which are just as ass to farm, the embers for, like, the embers you can carry as many, I think, materials for, and that's partly why they let you carry so many of these, because they're a material as well as a consumable. But like fire coils you only get to have 10 of, and, you know, dragon communion harpoons you only get to have 5 of, and I don't understand what their philosophy was behind a lot of the new consumables and, like, why they suck so bad. Because, like, some of them, again, like, they're actually not bad. They just don't let you carry enough of them to really make real use of them in this sort of run. And even in a more supplementary fashion, you're just not really gonna use them because you can only carry a few. You know, you're better off just using, like, a fucking kukri or some fan daggers or something, which, at least with those, you can carry an approximately decent amount of. Like, if they at least did that, like, let me carry, like, 30 of the harpoons or even 20 of them, like, I'd consider that to be okay. 20 would not be enough to just kill, like, Bale outright or something, but it'd be enough to do, like, significant damage to him and then switch to something else. But only 5 is not good. And I know that there's like technically the trick you can do of like crafting certain consumable items and leaving them on the ground, like near the fog gate, or sometimes in a fight before a fog gate appears. Like if it's done on the first time, especially if you're using a save file, that's not too hard to achieve. And you just set them on the ground so you can technically have more than a limit of like 10 or 5 or whatever. So once you run out, you just go pick up more. But that's not really a good way of handling that. It's just a kind of an exploit you can do. Plus, you know, you can't quit out and save and have them all stay there. So if you die, you'd have to set that up every single time. You know, even if you're reloading a save file, you would have to walk back into the room or at the fog gate or whatever and drop like as many piles of them as you can. You know, drop a pile, craft more, drop a pile, craft more, you know. And while that won't necessarily take a really long time, unless it's like in little increments of 5, like the harpoons, if you're trying to use exclusively Dragon Communion harpoons for some reason, that's just a lot of extra tedium every time you die to the boss and have to start over again. Which, you know, maybe you're not going to die to Bale as much as you die to Millennia or something like that. At least hopefully not. But still, it's just not great. Alright, now what are we doing? I guess we were going to go do Meteor, at least that was the plan. Horn Scent has been eliminated. We can talk to Letta really quick just to get a effectively kind of useless talisman, I think, but not necessarily in other respects. I just mean for this run, it's not really going to be useful, I don't believe. But...
Ah, there you are. Well fought. You have my gratitude. He was never going to see eye to eye with us.
For that,
But
you're
his
wrong,
words
actually.
were ill-founded.
He would, in fact, have seen
It
eye
was
to
hard
eye
to
with you
hear,
if we had done things a little differently. As in, specifically leaving him alive but not summoning him to help Mesmer, in which case he eventually becomes more or less fully loyal to Mikola. After having, you know, his dreams of revenge crushed. Okay. So lacerating cross tree enhances dash attacks. This is actually not a bad talisman in any regard. It's just not really going to do much for us in this, because I don't think you technically get dash attacks. Maybe you. Oops. Like you technically do with throwing knives. I just don't know that they're going to do much additional damage. I guess we could technically test it, but making use of that is hard to do with the square button, because I have to hold circle and then press square, which almost requires claw grip. Kind of want to see anyway. 635. It's the same amount, so I think it just doesn't even apply. Because, yes, it's technically a dash attack animation, but it's not a weapon, so it maybe just doesn't qualify. So that is the case for a lot of these sorts of things. Alright. So we could do the Darklight Catacomb, or sorry, Scorpion River Catacombs. We could do the Bears. What else do we have yet? I don't think we fought Dane, have we? We should probably do that just to get it out of the way. He is another NPC, though, and NPCs are fucking annoying. Although I don't think he's one that heals, at least not with a flask. I could be misremembering that. But I did say that I wanted to kill Meteor, so let's just go here and I guess give that a shot next. We're probably not going to go, like, a lot longer, because it's been 3 hours already, but, like I said, I've got some work to do, so maybe we'll just give Meteor a try and then call it after that. Do I want to try to get a level before we go? Maybe that would be worthwhile, just so we're not worried about runes, because I'm not sure she's going to be very easy. So to 182, I think we need like about another 100k or close. here. I mean, we still have a bunch, but should have honestly used these now that I think about it, but now it's maybe a little late. We'll wait until we're in need of another buyable level at some point. Alright, so we need about 31,000, slightly more than. Starting to actually get somewhat low on our rune stock here. Should be 25. That's 6k more. Just a little bit yet. One regular rune will do. Oh, there's our 60 strength, so that's something.
I told you what I've no interest, but I must account Emir perhaps Emir is in our eye. Our meeting, we know that we can. We will never. I pay me no more. Our service.
Forgive me. I failed you. Failed to birth you whole. But it won't be long now.
Yes, it won't be long now.
Mother. I will
Or maybe it will. Depends on if we get stuck on Medir.
You will have life.
I don't know. I absolutely pancaked him, so he didn't have much of a chance to heal. Yeah, I think he has a heal spell or something that he can use, but that might only be in the McKellen Loyalist fight at the end of the DLC. Like, in his initial fight, I'm not sure he uses any sort of heal ability. I honestly don't remember, though, because he also gets, like, a Golden Vow type buff, which maybe that's the thing that he only uses in that later fight. Because I know he gets, like, his little, you know, golden discus thing, like, the first time you fight him. He at least has that incantation. But for the most part, otherwise, he pretty much just tries to use his martial arts. So I'm not really sure what else he's really got. All right, so we're going to try volcano pots against her. Again, I'm not really too sure how well they're going to work, but give it a try. She does stay a little on the stationary side, but not that much, and she does move around the arena pretty quickly when she wants to. She also has a lot of reach. See if we can try to hit her like around the weak spot, that might do a bit more. We'll just re-roll that one a little bit. Oh, okay. Just no roll for some reason. Fuck, I always early roll that shit. I gotta get used to that. Didn't do anything. What? Lingering hitbox. Nice. Shit, that's still let me all the way over there. Not sure how I got hit by that last one, but 5 heals left. Okay. Really wish there was like genuinely something you could kind of do about that attack. It's kind of bullshit. I couldn't even get in fast enough. Probably gonna lose this one. Fucking, she took a weird fucking angle with that. She went sideways for some reason. One heal left. I don't think this is going to be the one. I fucking hate how fucking roll catchy or anything catchy that shit is. What? Alright. Why did that come out early? Alright, well, I'm just dead. There's literally nothing I can do. Is it even dodgeable? There's some sort of way to avoid this. I honestly don't exactly know what it is. Like with a dodge or something, but it's just a really fucking terribly designed attack. The only way to technically outrange it, like, you'd have to be at, like, the complete opposite end of the arena somehow, like, almost instantly. And that obviously isn't really a thing you can realistically do. I should be rotting her, I think. I don't think she's immune. I kind of completely forgot about rot. Hopefully that'll make things a little easier. I feel like that was going fine otherwise. It just, you know, you're taking a lot of unnecessary hits. Alright, we don't need to worry about our runes. Press the wrong button. So much, man. I don't remember really what the timing for this attack is, even though I should fucking know what it is. It's unfortunately true comboed. So I got stun locked there. I hate how inconsistent that shit is to dodge. Just gonna tank it. Now there's, like, for the follow-up beam, there's supposed to be, like, a spot you can stand at least if you find the right spot. Yeah, right there is fine. Okay, good bleed. I gotta rod her again, though. This is a good attack for it. Wait, why is... That was not... Why was her positioning off of that attack? It was, like, not in the right spot. Well, okay. That went way farther than it seemed like it should have, based on her angle. Let's get that bleed. Would have been really cool for her to get bled and killed in midair, but whatever, we got there. And those hefty rat bots, when you can use them, boy do they carry. I should have used gold scarab and shit. I always forget that she drops like a lot of runes. You can get like I think if you're wearing the talisman and use the golden horn tender, I think you can get like 500 something or 600 something. I think it's 500 something, but it's definitely a lot regardless. All right, well, it's a GG. Sick. But yeah, that one attack, I don't really know exactly what you're supposed to do about it. There is some way to dodge it, but I don't particularly know what it is because I didn't do like the strategy for her, so still only get one level out of this. Like 150 off from another level. It's like a lot, man. All right, I guess we are getting close to, we're closing in on 300,000 for a level, so. But we have 60-60 now, so we should probably start leveling some other shit. Maybe getting endurance to 20 wouldn't be bad, just because it's so close already. More vigor obviously wouldn't hurt, especially for shit like Radon later. I don't know how necessary it's going to be to have stuff like Faith and Arcane, since in the long run, I don't know how much we're going to be using shit like... Considering they suck so bad, you know, in terms of the quantity you can carry, I don't know how worthwhile it is to really try to get things like fire coils and shit to work. Because, you know, otherwise, yeah, they do scale S with Faith, but, like, they're kind of... If I can only use 10 of them, is that really worth all that investment? And the same goes for most of the rest of these as well. They're in Faith Arcane type shit. Just doesn't really seem super worthwhile. I think we'd be better off just getting like 2 points of endurance, or maybe even just say fuck it with the endurance and just get more vigor, and maybe even just another whatever more strength and dex we can get just for extra damage, because it'll still kind of help. I think for now, just because it's bothering me, I'm gonna put a point into endurance. And then, since we're not bothering to keep these, let's use this. About 50,000 or something more. We could duplicate a remembrance if we need to. Running into the point where we're not really going to be buying much in the way of levels anymore. We need about 12,000 left. Just because I mean, we still have some lower level runes and stuff. We just don't have much in the way of any of the higher level ones anymore. So let's see. 10,000. Let's just use 5 of them. That should theoretically be enough. Yep. There. Now we got our 20 endurance, so that's just taken care of. So we have a nice round number. The only number I don't really mind being kind of at a weird odd one is mind, just because, well, no pun intended, but yeah, I don't know if I really want to spend 5 points to have this be a nice rounded number like 20, because that's 5 levels and that's a lot. You know, it'd be a different story if I could just reallocate levels and make it work, but we also don't really need the FP that badly. Because, again, since we're not really planning to use fire coils that much and shit, we don't really need it. And none of them use enough FP for it to be a big deal anyway, so we can always just have an extra blue flask or something if we need it. Okay, so they're done. I guess let's come back up here and see about maybe just killing Yulan and Ymir, and I guess we'll call it after that. I hope that they're not going to be too much of a pain, because they could be. I feel like Ymir at least could be, just because he dodges like crazy. But we could potentially interrupt his spell cast to make it go a little smoother.
What have you done? You've wounded Count Ymir most irreparably, such that he wishes for your death, and I must attend to the Count's concerns.
Could you not waste my fucking thingies, please? She be wasting them, alright. She just keeps getting close like she's gonna attack, and then she just fucking dodges anyway. Yes, block. I don't care if you get the empowered fucking thing, just do it anyway. So I want you to get rotted. I feel like after 2 direct hits, you ought to be rotted by now. It's genuinely fucking crazy that you're not. Are you just immune? I guess so. They seem so fucking inconsistent with who's immune and who's not. Because fucking Anna wasn't. Oh, she can block that, I guess. I don't believe she heals, so hopefully we can just kind of make this work, but so we don't have to worry as much about her using a flask in the middle of it all. And she doesn't do such crazy damage that she's not Rakshasa anyway. Hello game, thanks. Let me roll, please. I got stuck on a fucking pew and for some reason it just didn't let me roll. And she gets like hella staggered by the volcano pots.
My dearest, a fine mother you will be.
Okay, she's done.
Star, grant me a mother's strength. Look here at my fingers.
That's right, we don't want to let you
I
have
will
just
be
full
the
iframes at this
true
point.
mother, and I will be the only mother. My dear children.
Again, I don't know if he's rottable or not. It's looking unlikely. We're just gonna have to stick with volcano pots and shit.
My dear child.
Yeah, you know, you just keep on birthing them. It's working for me. I thought he teleported behind me for a second there. I was like, that shouldn't be possible. What the fuck was that tracking? I know they have improved tracking, but it was fucked up.
Child.
What? Okay. Those have gotten significantly better at just turning on a dime if you don't just roll straight through it, I guess. Okay, game. Jesus Christ.
My dear child.
Okay. I knew that finger creeper was coming. I am real glad that I didn't get hit by it before I had a chance to heal, because that was almost a... That was a little monka-S. Okay, we got there. And now we're actually close enough to another level that I want to somehow get another one. Alright, let's go ahead and mark that as completed. We have to rest for her to show up again, I guess. I don't know. I'll probably just pick up her weapon or something, because we're not going to be really doing anything else consumables only once this run is done. Unless they decide to go against their initial word and make another DLC out of the blue. Which they could do. I wouldn't say that it's impossible or anything, because, well, Bandai Namco, if nothing else, is very interested in money, and I would not be surprised if they were just like, hey, we want another game, and you're kind of under contract, so... or not another game, but we want another DLC because everybody fucking loves Elden Ring so much. And I can tell you right now, they definitely have material they could use to make another DLC. Certainly lore-wise, because there's a lot of shit people are like, what about this? What about this? Like, you could have Godwin-related shit. You could do something about, you know, to explain more with Radagon. I think a Godwin-focused DLC, even if it's just like a shorter DLC, would actually be pretty fucking dope. Anything even more Crucible related could be cool, but we already get quite a bit of Crucible stuff in this with the Horn Scent lore and some of the other shit that's present, so I don't know how much more Crucible stuff you really need unless you're just strictly going back in time. And it would be kind of nice for them to not do the whole back in time shit again, because they've done that a bunch. And you don't go back in time for this, obviously. You're just in a different realm. Sort of the kind of the death realm, but not exactly. It's a bit weird. In fact, a true death realm where perhaps, you know, some element of like the Prince of Death, where Godwyn exists in some different entity could actually be cool. Because the thing of it is Godwyn's body is still alive. That's why Deathblade is spreading everywhere, but his soul, or whatever you want to say, is just gone. Hence why he's now considered the Prince of Death, because it's still technically a living entity, but sort of a soulless, maybe even potentially mindless one. But it'd be cool to have like a, you know, conscious spirit of Godwyn, you know, whatever, Prince of Death come back. I don't know, in a different DLC if they wanted to do something like that. And what they could do is just have you just straight up do Fia's quest line and then just like use a specific item while she's sleeping, or even when she's dead or whatever there, and or do your own like thing next to her where you just also enter a dream next to his corpse. And I realize entering a dream is kind of like also wishy-washy, like time travel shit, but you know, it'd be still kind of neat to just kind of have you like enter into a different domain that's sort of Shadow Realm adjacent, but just like an actual different, you know, realm of fallen warriors or some shit. I don't know. And all things Deathblade, which of course means that you would have a lot of Deathblade stuff there too. But that doesn't mean that it could be completely outside of the influence of things like the Three Fingers, or, you know, just the Outer God stuff, you know. So there could still be Frenzy Flame stuff happening. They probably won't really do anything with something like Eternal Sleep and all that, but that doesn't mean you can't still bring it into that DLC with you, since St. Trina's stuff is here at this point. But yeah, I could see them doing stuff with that. They could also do something that's like just focused on some of the other like Outer God things, like the Formless Mother would be. We already again kind of get some elements of that in this DLC, but something that's more specifically geared towards the Formless Mother and stuff could be neat. Or even just like more flame, you know, Fell God shit. I don't know. The point is, there's at least a few major threads of stuff that people are kind of like, especially with Godwyn, and I think a lot of people want to see, that they could easily center a DLC around. Now, obviously, Godwyn and the Realm of Shadow seem like they kind of go together, so that's one reason why a lot of people were a little surprised that Godwyn wasn't really a big thing here, even though his influence is still present. Obviously, there's some Deathblight stuff. It's kind of minimal. Also, mainly because there's not very many catacombs, but in those catacombs, there's still more Deathblade stuff, and there's even like one of those Godwyn corpses, or multiples of them, in, you know, where you fight the Death Knights, and the Death Knights themselves are supposed to be guardians of the Prince of Death, I think. So, if nothing else, if they did another DLC, not that I want to see them reuse a lot of shit, but they could put a couple more Death Knights in, give them some different abilities. Maybe even make it like a Death Knight faction, so that you can actually have a reason to make different Death Knights, like completely differently designed. So maybe they'll still have some of the lifesteal abilities or whatever, and have like similar motifs and stuff, but like, you know, maybe some of them don't use lightning, maybe they use other shit. Maybe you got like Death Knight captains or whatever that are specific bosses. You know, and then all kinds of other like death worshippers would be cool. And again, mind you, I think that having the focus being somewhat surrounding Deathblight could get a little bit old, but you obviously don't have to give every single enemy in the DLC the ability to build up Deathblight or anything. You just give it to some. And yeah, But, you know, that also would mean that since they've already kind of been scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit in some regards, like it would mean new armor, new weapons, new spells, new Ashes of War probably, so on and so forth. Obviously, new NPCs, and that's where it starts to get tricky because you have to like find interesting content to put in. Furthermore, if they want to have the scaling, unless they go with a much smaller in scale DLC, they'd probably have to do something similar to the Shadow Tree Fragments system. But that's kind of why I'm more in favor for them doing like a smaller scale one where you can like have it just scale with like the base game scaling and just have it be geared more for higher level and just go with that. Because then you don't really need to work in like a third system because that would get complicated. See more of Godwin in his himbo body too, maybe in some cutscene. Well, that's kind of what I was getting at before, is like you wouldn't necessarily just be fighting his big weird sea creature Deathblade corpse thing or anything. I mean like an actual like spiritual entity of Godwin who looks more like his original form, but maybe he's got like interwoven Deathblade stuff or something, and he's got like he's all scarred up or something from you know, his assassination. But he would still kind of look like his former self. Maybe he just has fucking black hair or some shit. I don't know. In other words, he'd probably look kind of like a pale-skinned, but not like crumbling, black-haired goth Radagon, sort of, if that makes sense, with a different sort of weapon and moveset, obviously. That's kind of how I picture him looking. So I think it's kind of weird the flat stop at 14 and plus 12. I think it's just kind of a number they settled on. They could have done less, and I'm glad they didn't do less. They have to balance it for PvP, and since they kind of just do like the cut everything in half thing generally for PvP, it's like, all right, well, if we give you an even number, it's gonna, like 14, it's gonna split into sevens, which isn't great. But if we give you like 15, you know, then like, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better, but you're still splitting between an even and an odd. So you'd need 16, and at that point, assuming you don't just go all the way to 20 or whatever, you're running into a lot of like, is it too much? Is it too little? You know, what number seems appropriate? So I can tell you that PvP is a big reason for that, but even outside of PvP, I just think that they might have thought that, like, if they give you too many, especially since you can either choose to fully allocate in one direction or the other, it might just be too many potions, and it might just make things feel a little too easy for a number of builds. Because if you're at least relatively, you know, vigorous and have a decent amount of defense, you can definitely get through a lot of fights just, you know, occasionally using a potion and just not really have a problem. I'm gonna get her weapon, I think, even though it would be good to reunite them. But just because if I ever decide to do anything else with this character, I'd rather have the weapon.
No light. Anywhere at all. This is the night I know. Our night.
Alright. So, I probably should have just gotten her Spirit Ash anyway, just so I could show that off on stream since I didn't do it last time, but I'm just trying to think if there's like anything I can kill like really quickly, and easily, that'll give me the runes that I want. For another level really quick before we go. Did I get the spell? Not sure if I did go out to grab that or not. Again, not that I need it, but I still like collecting these items. I guess I must have. And I never bothered her anyway. I could kill like a red bear or something, but they're kind of a pain in the ass. They shouldn't be that much of a pain in the ass, but they can still be kind of a pain in the ass. Trying to think if there's anything else, because again, we could well, you know, actually maybe let's just go duplicate a remembrance, because it's not like we give a shit about that anyway. So let's just well, we're already actually near one, so guess I'll just be stuck here. Yeah. She was 40K, I think. I don't know if anyone was particularly higher. I have to look at what some of these are, because they don't tell you in their description at all, which is always kind of annoying. It tells you for, like, the other runes, but... This is Elden Ring. 30K, 40K, 40K, 30... Most of them are like... Oh. Did he just peace out? Alright, well, that's fine. Most of them are either like 30 or 40,000, and Bale obviously does not drop any. He does not drop a remembrance, but final one is 50. Right now we're in combat. He keeps, as soon as I get out of my menu, he keeps flying away. He knows I'm about to I'm about to fucking stand on business here, and then he's just like, nope, I don't want none of that. I'm just here to be a pest. What about the... Yeah, it's 50 for Elden Remembrance, so we'll just do that. Oh, now. Motherfucker. We still need fucking 30,000, 31,000 though. Alright, let's go to another one then. This one's tapped out. So there's one at each finger ruins. Let's do this one over here. There's still the ones in the base game too, because I don't think I used any of them. I marked them in case I needed to do this at all. Which normally I wouldn't even bother. Usually I just like getting runes in other ways. We could even literally just farm the runes really fast. But I guess this is the course I'm on now. Like, quite literally, I could just go to the Ancient Ruins of Rao and do like one cycle and probably get the remaining runes that I need, or 2 at most. But it's fine. Because as much as it would be good to otherwise hold on to the availability of duplicating remembrances and stuff, I just don't really see me using this character for further things like that, just because I've gone through it already. You know, especially with anything considered, you know, in the DLC, if I'm going to be trading stuff, or if I would need to trade stuff to get items, I think I might just instead cheat engine them in at some point. Alright, so that should be more than enough. And I'm just going to put myself somewhere where I will want to farm later. I guess we'll just start over here. So what the fuck am I leveling up now? I got all these nice round numbers. I feel weird about leveling at this point, but I also don't like just sitting on runes for no reason. Just kind of feels weird to do. Yeah, I guess we'll just start getting some vigor. I'd prefer to just kind of leave it lower, but there's not really a lot of point in putting points into anything else aside from maybe strength or dexterity, but it's gonna be a bit, so. Anyway, yeah, I think we're gonna call it there for today, y'all. Like I said, I've got some work I gotta get to and all that, so I know it's a bit of a shorter one, and tomorrow if I do stream, obviously I'll likely have a cutoff time, so it'll be a little on the shorter side then too, but I'm hoping, I know I said this like literally last weekend, but hopefully we'll be like really fully actually done with this shit soon, and I can start streaming a little bit more regularly, at least before my trip. After my trip, I should definitely be able to stream a little bit more regularly. It's not, again, not necessarily going to be every day of the week, but I do want to increase back to like 3 or 4 days of the week instead of just like 2. I did at least get Friday in, so that was something, but yeah, it's been very busy with everything after the patch, and we're just waiting on 1 or 2 things to literally be just approved so we can just send shit to the printer. But until that time, there's always like little shit that people want to just recheck just to make sure. So this means more work for me. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it very much, as always. Like I said, if I can, I will stream tomorrow as well around the usual time. Either more of this or possibly Conscript or maybe something else if I feel like it. We'll see. But if I don't see you, then have a great rest of your weekend. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you otherwise sometime next week. But yeah, until then, take care of yourselves. And I'll see you later. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.